Morning. I think we're live. Can y'all give me a 5x5 before we get rolling? Uh, and we'll do this morning. I'm going with StreamYard. I'm going to mix it up back and forth because OBS is complicated and it's going to take me a while, but eventually we'll be over there almost exclusively. Cobra, what's up? That wouldn't be Mike McDonald, would it? Do we got two Cobra fans in the house, or did you switch your name? Minnesota Prepping, how are you doing? Doug, thank you for the 5x5s, everybody. We are the resistance. Good morning. Maria Forrest. Digna, good morning. Outdoor Watch Norway. Nostra, good morning. Roy, what's up? Jim McKay. Tiny Titan. Oklahoma Jim. Savage Lee. Tony Durbin, good morning. Two-wheel prepper, son of the desert. All right. It looks as though, Kathleen, good morning. Looks as though we are 5x5. So welcome to the Chaos Radio Show, which also includes video. Long story, if you if you're brand new, long story. And I'm the voice of chaos. Chaos is always going on. What's up, Chewbacca? Chaos is always afoot here in 2024. And I'm John, of course. And McBean, how are you doing? Teresa, Bill, Bill Kilmer. Good morning, South Florida. Sarah Bear, Pilgrim. What's up, Ed Benoit? So this morning, well, let me start off by saying this. If you're on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, you know what song I woke up to this morning. I go by whatever is suggested on YouTube when I click music. And it took old John back. I could recall a time where John was probably three or 4 year old John's walking with Lee jeans on in arcade, just pulling on joysticks and stuff. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know what that song is. If you follow me over on The Bunker, which is a free channel here on YouTube, you know what my most despised word is, right, Dynamite? Thank you to the moderators, by the way. And if you're on Facebook, the conversation this week is canning. Canning. I'm just saying. So, this is a choose your own adventure video. We do these twice a week, actually. We're going to be doing this one this morning. This comes from Patreon, where they get to choose the topic. And then if you're in the coffee club, you're going to have a poll later today, and you're going to be choosing a question for tomorrow. We should be going radioactive tomorrow morning. We'll see. I talked to Backwoods a little bit earlier, but this morning's topic, again, as chosen, all of the links should be down below, Jim McKay. They should be down below. If not, let me know and I'll pin it in the comments or something, brother. As chosen by Patreon, 3 total SHTF scenarios that would forever change the United States of America. We're going to rank these 3 from most likely to least likely. And these are true Black Swan level events, would be the way to put it. And as we rank these 3, and we'll get into each one of them and what they would look like and why I've got them ranked where they are ranked. As we get into these, okay, I want you to consider the world around us today. Waters Family Homestead, how are y'all doing? So consider our society, our issues here at home. Okay, consider the issues abroad, all of the wars, all of the conflicts and things that are abroad. The level of tech advancement that we are seeing, all across the world, but especially here in the United States, the tribalization that we see in modern countries in 2024. Consider the fact that we have elites, perhaps puppet stringing, who crave power nonstop. Um, and then the 3 topics that were laid out are aliens, nukes, or civil war. Which of those 3 is the most likely? Y'all let me know in chat what you think. Aliens, the introduction of aliens into mainstream society, nukes, widespread nuclear conflict, or civil war here in the United States. So again, we are going most likely to least likely, and we'll explain why as I get my LeBron James on, son. By the way, Bones Coffee Company is not paying me to plug them, But Miss Nation found these at Food City. They're selling them alongside Starbucks now, and they a lot better, son. They a lot better than the Starbucks in the cans. I'm just saying. So, starting with the most likely scenario, this is probably going to be most people's pick, Grace and Grit. It is most people's pick for sure. Zombies, I should have put that up there, Kelly and Rambo. I really should have. But zombies is a pretty broad topic. I mean, you could get into cell phone zombies today, right? Um, Prepper Truckin says Civil War, then nukes, then aliens. Cheryl says Civil War. It is cold, yeah, for sure. And it's not going to be an everyday occurrence because it's $3 a can, but they are good. Civil War is the most likely on these three for me. And this is because the United States of America is primed for a civil war. I mean, there's no, you can debate a lot of things. You can disagree with a lot of things that you hear mainstream media, that you hear on YouTube, that you hear anywhere, especially YouTube, right? But there's no way you can look at the United States of America in 2024 and say, ah, nah, they're not primed for we're primed for civil war. Everything is in place, okay? In fact, a lot of people, Matt Outdoorsman, what's up, brother? A lot of people are asking for a civil war. I see this in chat a lot here and other places where I go and watch replays and stuff, where I'll see comments. Now I don't necessarily know what they're. I don't know if they understand what they're getting themselves into by asking for civil war. Because this is something that some of you have seen warfare for sure, and you know the horrors of war. But civil war is especially nasty, and it's something that none of us have really lived through, at least not here in the United States of America, unless you're incredibly old. And if so, congratulations for making it that long. You Union or Confederate veterans out there, if you're listening, you're probably voting Democrat, but hey, maybe I can change your mind from the grave here, son. There are too many different political ideologies in the United States for a revolution. I considered a revolution as well. Some people will say, no, revolution before Civil War. But the problem is, I think anyway, in order to have revolution, most of the people need to be on board. Yeah. Back in 1776, only 3% of the people actually stood up and did something about it. Right. But most of the other folks, 90 some percent, they're sitting back, they're supporting, they're helping the cause one way or the other. They are all unified in what they want. You know what I mean? And we just do not have that here in the United States of America. We have some people that want socialism, some people that want communism, some people want Islam installed here, some people want capitalism and, the constitutional republic. And some people are for totally open borders and no rules whatsoever. I mean, it's madness. And I think that is what is going to lead us. Bakari, good morning. That's what's going to lead us to civil war rather than revolution. It would look, uh, many ways, it would look the same, I think. The horrors of it, at least. So, Full Spectrum Survival did a video, I think it was yesterday. If you follow him, maybe you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. And he's saying that there's a 60% chance that a civil war is coming to the United States. So I went in, I watched his video. I do from time to time. Some people don't like him. They think he fear mongers. Um, I don't really subscribe to that. I think he's got good information and seems like he's a smart guy. I don't want to put myself in a corner with a specific number and say there's a 60% likelihood. But outside of that, I agree with everything else that he said. I think this is the most likely major SHTF moving forward here in the United States, other than perhaps a pandemic, a second pandemic. So, America's division does not end with an election. And that's what I took away from his video, and that's what I totally agree with there. We are not ending this with an election. Everybody understands that, right? We are not going to have an election in November or a selection for those that subscribe to the selection deal, whichever. It does not end in November. It does not end, the night of the election when the results are announced. If there's an election, right? Wisdom over fear is saying no election. May not be an election. But if there is, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't end then. Everybody doesn't start holding hands and getting along all of a sudden. The communists and the capitalists are not coming together, and the constitutionalists and singing kumbaya, and everybody's going back to work. It's not how it's going to work this time around. Promise you. And during a civil war, you know, a lot of things are dangerous about that. Obviously the armies, but anytime you get into warfare, civilians tend to suffer the most, either the most casualties or the most suffering across the board. And I think one of the most dangerous things about civil war that people are not really considering when they're demanding civil war. I mean, we've even had lawmakers call for it at this point. Large groups of refugees will be an issue. Large groups of refugees. Okay, they are going to be an extremely tough thing to deal with. You may be prepped, from flesh to bone. You may have it stacked up 20 times over, up to the rafters. But if several hundred people come rolling through your neighborhood, that is a major, major deal. You may have ARs and AKs all day long, but at some point it becomes a numbers game. And also, it's going to be extremely tough to get the basic staples during, a revolution or a civil war, in this case, meaning like clean drinking water, basic medications, stuff like this. This is stuff that you should be prepping now. You should already have a plan for this stuff, okay? Because it's going to be too late. If we wind up in a civil war, these are the things people typically struggle with the most. I mean, you take a look, Gaza, even though that's not really a civil war, you can use Gaza or Ukraine, Eastern Ukraine as an example. You can go in, you can study what are people missing right now in those regions. And what you're going to find is basic medication, clean drinking water, hygiene products, and of course, food and stuff like this. And it's too late for them. Now they're waiting on an international organization to try and hook them up, you know, however the case may be. So, land versus hands on deck, as I like to call it. We have somebody that, and forgive me, I don't remember the name, that bounces in and out of here once a week. And they're a nice person, but they're like, hey, I got 4 farms. Maybe y'all can, if you're in chat and you've seen this person before, maybe they're even in here. Let me know. But they've got 4 farms. They've got so many acres. They've got 3 ponds or whatever it is, and no help. This is a nightmare scenario during a civil war because you don't have hands on deck to take care of this land. You don't have enough manual labor in place and people to patrol this land, and it is going to be taken from you at some point. I hate to be the one to tell you, but by leaving this comment, I kind of get the idea that you already know that you're in trouble and you need help there right now. And to Full Spectrum Survival's video again for a second, you need to know the abilities within your group already, or your family. Maybe it's just you and yours. You need to know what everybody is capable of. You need to know everybody's pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses. We all have them. Everybody watching or listening right now has at least one strength when it comes to prepping. And I guarantee you at least one weakness, okay? And if they say no, they are lying. And factor in, before we move forward here, factor in that Americans feel desperate right now. You can feel this when you go out, shopping or something. You can see it on people's faces. You can feel it. It doesn't take much to piss people off. Some people are looking to be upset about something because they just want to vent all this frustration. They're tired of. I'm tired of paying what we have to pay for groceries, right? I say this quite often, but at least the groceries are there to be bought. At least the gas is there to be purchased. At least things are semi-normal, just very expensive. Okay. During a civil war, this magnifies by 100 because most of the stuff is no longer there to purchase. You think you're frustrated right now? Go to a grocery store that's not open and all the shelves are bare. And there is no gas at any of the gas stations, right? That's the reality of civil war. No running water, no medications, no pharmacies restocking, none of this. I mean, literally the Wild West, except you have armies going at it as well. So, again, most likely scenario for me at least, um, civil war in the United States. Now, the second one may throw people off, but I will explain. Okay. The second most likely of these three, for me, is the official introduction of aliens. I know a lot of people were expecting nukes, and we'll get into nukes last, okay? Because I see the groundwork already being put into place for this. So I sat around and I weighed my options on nukes versus, very important, the official introduction of alien life forms. Because we've seen a lot of video, we've had a lot of sightings and things. There are a lot of unclassified things out there, right? I'm talking about your government coming on TV, your president sitting behind a desk saying, hey, you know, we have visitors among us, this sort of thing. Here's why I believe it is more likely than nukes, okay? I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. AI. I think AI is going to be used heavily to sell the idea, to sell the concept of extraterrestrials or visitors among us, whatever the case may be. Right now, it seems like, yeah, Roy. Right now, it's more distraction than anything. But I do believe, I feel in my heart, at some point they're going to officially play this card. Um, and also, not only AI. Okay, AI is a dangerous, dangerous thing when you're trying to sell this to the masses. But also people's ability and willingness to accept propaganda without question, right? You point right to the pandemic that we just had. You have common sense. Most people have common sense. I've met people that don't. I'm not going to lie to you about it. Most people do have some sort of common sense, gut instinct or something like that, a gut feeling, as some people I've heard call it. However, people's ability to have a gut feeling but see a billboard and have that billboard convince them, well, my gut feeling is wrong, is insane to me. It's insane. All right. We have a pandemic, showed up out of nowhere. 6 months later, we have a cure that has been tested, right? When typically a tested cure takes about a decade. This gut feeling for me at that time was something's not adding up here. Even doing the John math, because I'm horrible at math, I'm like, well, wait a minute. How can this be? How can they have just found out 6 or 7 months ago about this thing and have put 10 years worth of testing into it? Is it possible, John, son, that they're testing it now and they're just lying to people with billboards and signs on buses and things? But again, people's ability to accept without question, coupled with AI as a tool for this, a lot of people are going to accept this and even be excited about the prospect of visitors being among us. The visitors are our friends. If you're a fan of the old V TV show, not going to ruin too much, or even the reboot of it, not going to ruin too much. Propaganda posters everywhere. They come in, they introduce the idea of aliens. We have visitors among us. We need to treat them with respect. These things set up medical centers. They're performing miracles, medical miracles. when in reality they're exterminating, and people are none the wiser. Well, there are a few are, but that's what makes it a good TV show. So when these things are introduced, and again, I don't think it's a matter of if, I think it's a matter of when. When these things are introduced, there are going to be different beliefs on what these things actually are. Okay. They're probably in chat right now. They're probably different beliefs on that. And it's okay. Some people are going to look at them and they're going to say these are fallen angels. This is biblical. It's going to pull some people closer to the gospel. Other people are going to abandon the gospel because they're going to think it's too archaic. Look, we have proof now that there's life on another planet. This sort of thing. You're going to have people that worship these things because they're going to be so advanced. You know what I'm saying? And the entire thing. Sorry, we got a super chat. You can blame Shady on that. Alien invasion. We're getting there. Oh man, you're too smart, Shady. We're getting there. I'm leading into it. Started in the 1940s. They gave us technology they knew we couldn't handle yet, and we OD'd on it. We're getting there. Thank you very much for the super chat and for waking everybody up. So I'm almost there, actually, Shady. Um, because again, too much evidence already exists. Okay. Now I get it. Some people are like, man, this dude's over here talking about aliens. What is going on? What kind of channel is this? But listen, I've always said I entertain conspiracy theories when there's evidence. There does not have to be evidence to the moon to get me interested. There has to be a little bit. I'm not going into a rabbit hole when it's all speculation, right? But we have military pilots who have testified to the fact that they've seen this stuff. They've caught video of this stuff on military aircraft. We have declassified documents by the thousands that, getting into Shady's point, that the government has known for a while that these things are out there and they do not want the public to panic, which also means they're going to formally introduce them at the right time. They're waiting. It's a matter of timing. You understand? So they're waiting on that perfect time to play this card, which tells me they're going to play the card 10 years from now, 100 years from now, next week. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. Only the people that have really high clearance apparently know this, because I have to dig around on declassified stuff on the internet like everybody else, but it will be forever world changing. And I think that's kind of why they pump the brakes a little bit on this, and they're waiting for the right time, because they realize once they play this card, the game totally changes. And they need to have everything in place. And again, I'm looking at AI, because AI is going to be able to sell people on a lot of stuff. People are dumb. Nothing against y'all in chat. Love y'all, but you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people are dumb. We were just talking about the what was it, yesterday or the day before? People at the gas pumps wearing gauntlet gloves and the N95 and the goggles because they don't want to catch the C-19 in 2024. Some people will literally believe anything as long as it is said on CNN or Fox or something. These people exist, and so when they formally introduce this stuff and they manage to tie AI into it, a lot of people are going sailing on that trip. As for me, I'll be in a fifth column somewhere. Just saying, just saying. If it bleeds, I think that's a quote from the Predator, right, Shady? If it bleeds, we can kill it, no matter how nice it smiles on a propaganda poster. Finally, the most unlikely of the three, and folks, I'm not saying this will never happen, but of these three scenarios, this is the most unlikely for me. And I realize that's not going to be a popular statement. There were a lot of people that had maybe nukes at number two, and I can respect that. Here's my reasoning for this being below an alien introduction. Okay, those who control the sandbox need the sandbox. Think about that. If you're in control of the sandbox, Why would you destroy the sandbox? Because then you're in control of absolutely nothing. And I see these quotes all of the time, okay? It's all a show. Anytime we start talking about elections or world events, hey, John, what are you talking about? It's all a show. They're all in it together, John. They're all in it together. Well, if that's true, and I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying that it's not, I'm not discrediting those statements. I'm saying if that's true, and everybody at the elite level is in it together, and it's all a show, and you're just putting on a show, why would you destroy the stage, the auditorium? Why would you do it? It seems to me like you would just continue to move pieces around and keep putting the show on. These people need a stage, they need something to control. All right, they need people to move around. Now, they're probably not above getting rid of some people, oh my goodness. Two. Yeah, yeah. Art Nanny, thank you very much. Tactical, we're getting there, man. Y'all smart. We're getting there. Art Nanny, tactical doesn't ruin the sandbox. Yeah, when I say nukes here, as a topic, I'm saying widespread, like you would see on most of your movies and stuff like that. End of the world, right? J954, thank you. What's up, nation? So this is an actual live. Yes, when we are live, there'll be a red box that says live. And when it's a premiere, there'll be a red box that says premiere. So there you go. Now you know. So my super chats will actually go through. Yes, it's going through. Y'all trying to pimp that cash. I see how it is. I love you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you too, Art Nanny, for getting us further into this topic ahead of schedule here. It is what it is. So they need their sandbox. I think that to Art Nanny's point now, there's always the threat of a smaller nation that goes rogue. There's always a threat of an Iran. They get a tactical nuke or two, or North Korea. Okay. But I think this leads to a regionalized event, which is what Art Nanny was saying. Still a bad event, still highly possible. But I don't know that it happens here in the United States. We're going to get to the areas of the United States that would be hit the quickest, okay? But if this happens, it's going to be in another region of the world. Um, and again, sadly, with AI and with the fact that they control the social media now and stuff, we have no way of actually knowing what is going on. We may see video footage of a nuke hitting in Iran. This is how scary it is, folks. We may see that, and we may only see the message on social media of people talking about it, and anything that talks out against it. People from Iran may be trying to get on there saying there was no nuke, right? And they'll be suppressed. So we don't even know for sure in 2024. We kind of have to believe. That's sad. We have to believe our government to an extent. It's almost like a leap of faith when it comes to regionalized events and stuff. So I feel that people give this topic way too much respect um, because it's a scary topic. I mean, I understand why. People have been scared of nukes since World War II, the A bomb. They've been through the Cold War. It is a scary topic, okay? But I think people again give it a little too much respect. Civil War to me is just as scary. It's more scary, in fact, than a regionalized tactical nuke somewhere. Right? Civil War to me is more scary because it affects a lot more people here in the United States of America. The formal introduction of aliens, having our president holding a special conference, press conference on TV saying they're among us and seeing spacecraft, right? To me, this is more scary than a tactical nuke in North Korea that goes off. Yeah, that's going to trigger some things. It's going to be a domino effect on that for sure, but it may not suck the entire world in. Um, Whereas the Civil War is going to be life changing for every single person in the United States, probably Canada as well. In the formal introduction of aliens, um, again, sucks the entire world in. At that point, there's no going back. So, according to Daily Mail, take it with a grain of salt. Here are the cities, the top 5 cities that would be hit. These are the 5 targets inside of the United States if there was a widespread nuclear event, okay? Washington, D.C., New York City, San Francisco, Chicago, and Los Angeles. I saw this list and I said, son, these places look like they've already been hit by nukes. Straight up. Chicago, it looks like it's already been hit with a tactical nuke. New York City. Now, I'm sure there are beautiful parts within New York City and even within Chicago, but I mean, seriously, if you're in one of these 5 cities, okay, maybe be a little more worried and give this topic a lot more respect than it deserves. But most people watching this, you're in Louisiana or Alabama, right, Ginger? And if nukes hit these 5 places, okay, yeah, you're going to be affected. There'll be some fallout, but the most you're going to be affected, I think, complete shutdown of the supply chain at that point, and refugees by the millions headed your way, you know? So I think people respect it, but they do it out of fear without being realistic about it. You know what I mean? Um, they worry way too much about, let's take pills for radiation, here in West Virginia, and they're not worried so much about tens of thousands of people spilling out and headed their way. Very desperate people. Again, it looks like they've already been nuked. So, how would you rank these Black Swan events? Now, again, that's a question for live chat. That is a question for the replay crowd. I appreciate everybody being here. If you're on the bunker, there's a rant coming later. And otherwise, if you're not, we should be going radioactive tomorrow morning. Y'all take care and God bless.